Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This video is the final part in a series on getting into medicine in Australia. If you haven't seen any of the other parts, I encourage you to click on any of the links which are surrounding me right now. They could be here, they could be here, they could be here. Click on any of them, find out what you missed out on, and I hope you enjoy this final part in getting into medicine in Australia. Welcome to From Ed to Med. Step 4 is your interview. Now, most of these universities have an interview where there are a couple that don't at the moment, but again, it changes year to year, so just check out that information. But generally, the interview for the different universities is fairly similar in that it'll be an MMI, multiple mini interview station sort of thing. What happens in those is you're going to go in with probably a group. Now, when I did in two different universities, University of Sydney and Griffith University. They did it a bit differently. University of Sydney had a multiple mini interview station, and what happens there is you go in with a small group, you're all lined up against a door or a wall, and you wait. Every 2 minutes a bell will ring, you'll go into a room and there'll be a scenario. So you talk to the person in that room and you give your responses to that scenario. Generally what they're trying to find out in an interview situation is that, okay, first of all, they know you got there because you passed an exam, so that's brilliant, they know you're smart enough to do it. But in the interviews they're looking for, are you able to actually talk to people? Are you someone who's able to show empathy, show ethical process in what you do, and are you able to communicate ideas to people? That's generally what the interviews are for. Now, in Sydney's case, I know that they interviewed over a 3-week period, and so each day they take a couple of students in, go through a couple of rounds, and they interviewed probably around a ratio of 3 to 1, so 3 interview people for every 1 place they had. Whereas Griffith, on the Gold Coast, they did that all in 1 day. They have a separate system which they patented, similar kind of format, except they did all of their students on the 1 day. Again, similar situation, except they use actors. And so in some cases you just put into a situation where you have to respond to whatever's given in front of you. So again, all of that is covered by kind of an NDA, so we can't really talk about that, and you won't find much information about that online. However, if you want more information about how to practice for the interview, go to Paging Doctor. There are a lot of resources there, test questions, and you might even be able to find a group of people to talk with. If you're not someone who's comfortable talking to people, then I suggest practicing. Don't give them stock standard answers. They're not looking for you to parrot the right answer. They're looking for you to actually react genuinely to a situation. And remember that most of your work as a doctor is probably going to be with people. So you need to be able to talk to people. Get a group together, practice over Skype. A lot of those groups are set up via Paging Doctor as well. So if you're interested, please check it out. But if you are one of those people who's not comfortable talking to people, practice. Practice. Just as a side note, I did hear a story about a guy who went into his interview, and when asked about why he wants to become a doctor, get ready for that question, because that's a no-brainer. Every university is going to ask you that question. When he was asked about whether he wants to be a doctor, why he wants to be a doctor, he said, for the money. Yeah, don't do that. Finally, wait for your offer to come in. Now, this is easier said than done, and there's a lot of waiting. So if you remember, if you're a GAMSAT and you did that in March, you've been waiting since March, basically, to find out what your future holds. So that's almost 6 to 9 months of trying to find out what's going on. Best advice I can offer is just continue doing what you're doing. If you're working like I was, just continue working and focus on that. If you're at university, focus on getting the best GPA you can, because that will help you. Don't think about it so much. It's a long wait. It's going to be hard. Don't stress about it, because in the end, you've done everything you can, and really, what else can you do? So if you don't get in, and I didn't get in my first year I was applied either, I didn't get any interviews either. If you don't get in, reapply, because if medicine is something you want to do and you're passionate about, you're not going to let a rejection stop you. remember to think in the long term. This is a long process, there's a lot of exams, there's a lot of pressure and stress on it. But if you get into medicine, then you're going to spend 4 years at university, 2 years of internship, then another 5 to 7 years, depending on your specialty, of training for your specialty. While working full-time, you're going to have to do exams. This is not something that's going to stop just because you got into medicine. This is something that's going to get worse. So if you're stressing out now about the process, imagine what you're going to be like in 4 to 6 years' time when you get in. So take it with a grain of salt, do the best you can, and if you don't get in, reapply. Because medicine is something that it's going to take a lot of effort, it's going to take a lot of passion, and that drive that you have now is something you're going to need to keep on going through. Don't get disheartened, don't get discouraged, just keep going. I applied for my second year as well. I've resat the GAMSAT again. I went through the interview, I got 2 interviews, and I actually got 2 offers, so I was really stoked about that, having had no offers the year before and 2 offers that year. So it's not about luck, it's about persistence, it's about getting ready for it, doing the research, study, get there. So good luck, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them right there below. Drop a like if you like this video, or if it helped you at all, that'll help the channel a great deal. And again, I hope to see you the next time when we go from ed to med.